Hi, hello, welcome to the podcast. This is directly to you. It's me, AJ. I'm a redirect, dude. It's our podcast, man. I'm joined by Parker, also a redirect. He's on the podcast too. You can support all of those things that I just said by going to youtube.com/watchredirect or twitch.tv/watchredirect and getting $4.99. It don't even got to be of your own money. You don't got to take it out of your wallet. Steal it from Jeffy B by having an Amazon Prime account, which you link to your Twitch account. You get a free subscription every month. You just got to remember to renew it. It's a great old time. In exchange for that, you get access to a supporters only Discord. I don't usually say that first. Throw a curveball. You can listen to us record this show. It's a great old fun time. But other than that, if you get, Twitch and YouTube specifically, you get emotes, you get loyalty badges, and sometimes I got emails and stuff of codes which I need to be reminded to go through, and I put those in the supporters only Discord. You get all that stuff by being a member of one of those things. Also, game night stuff if you go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/watchredirect, and give the equivalent of $8 of support. So if you don't already subscribe to us on Twitch or YouTube, specifically join. I don't mean clicking the subscribe button on YouTube. That it's a paid thing specifically. If you don't already do that, you can just give $8 on Patreon. But if you do already do that, you just got to give the difference between what you give us on those platforms or the $3 or whatever if it's a Prime sub specifically. And you could be a part of game night. It's a good old fun time. Also, you get videos early when we post the videos, and there's going to be some other stuff because I want to start doing something that we'll talk about later when our next video goes up. And you'll be a part of that too. It's a good old fun time. Anyway,
I know what that thing is.
You do know what that thing is.
And based on the progress of the video, the next video, you should be finding out pretty soon. So there you go.
Sick.
As in, it should be out pretty soon.
The podcast listeners will get a head start, and the people in the live recording thing will get a head start on knowing the details for that. So there you go. We're talking about Splatoon, dude. It happened, man.
We surely are. Yeah, there was a direct this week. It got announced on Monday. It happened on Wednesday, and we watched it. I don't know. Did you watch it live as it happened or a little bit later?
No, I woke up at noon that day.
Hey, look at that.
Because I was up until 5 the day before.
That's the one. There you go.
Or the day of, I guess. I was up at 5 a.m. and I woke up at noon. So no, absolutely not. I was not waking up for that. And it's not like I like Splatoon and people know that I like Splatoon, but it's not like my brand to like Splatoon. So there's no real reason for me to stream that direct.
Unless you were already awake, already just like hanging out, like that kind of thing. Right. I'm like, whatever. But besides that, for sure.
But the likelihood of me being up and alert and ready to click go live at 9 a.m. is pretty low. Because that means I got to get up before that and get ready to do that, which I do not do of my own accord very often. So that did not happen. But anyway, we're freaking, it's Splatoon, man. So how do you want to do it? You want to go through? We have this article right here.
We do
for non-video viewers. I have the article.
I feel like the things that you were talking about, or that you were saying you wanted to talk about. I think maybe we do those. We talk about that afterwards. So do some just like detailsy stuff, like the more newsy side of it, and then the more kind of like discourse parts of it or whatever.
Sounds good.
But then again, I mean, there's a lot of this stuff that we're not going to go through all the there's new weapons and new stuff. Like, that's cool.
We can do the bullet points. I have the article up on the screen. It's from Nintendo Life.
I can't see what parts you have up, so I mean, you can just run through whatever bullet points you've got.
I'm just gonna scroll. It's first thing's photo mode. I'm not gonna read all the things. I'm just gonna mention what it is. Photo mode. Thoughts on photo mode, man?
I don't actually remember that from the direct at all, so none thoughts.
There's a photo mode. I may or may not get use out of that for thumbnails. That'll be cool. That's the extent of photo modes for me. Is that photo modes are a thing. New techniques. So this part I will.
That actually is kind of cool.
This is sick. This was probably the biggest thing for me specifically. Where I was like, oh shoot, I was not expecting that. There's the Squid Surge Players can use Squid Surge to swim up walls quickly in a single burst. So you can usually swim up walls.
How big is that one? Because the second one seemed like, like a game changer kind of thing. This one, I didn't quite get as much of a feel of like how impactful that'll be in gameplay.
I think it could be pretty big because like if you're swimming up a wall and like somebody shoots at you, you can swim up the wall faster to avoid that the shots.
Gives
so like
options.
That's one like off the top of my head use case for that. That's pretty big. But I think the squid roll specifically, which is the next thing, is the bigger thing. Technique design for fast 180-degree turns or 180 turns. It says
it does.
The squid roll also includes a brief iframe that repels ink when the character glows. The fact that they said iframe is nuts.
I mean, I guess this is the Nintendo Life article.
Yeah, it is. But that's what I'm saying.
Like,
I'm talking about Nintendo Life calling it an iframe.
Right.
But I mean, I guess kind of. This is nuts. This is crazy. Because I can see all sorts of situations that like it's used for baits and like not even just the like face value of like repelling the ink back at your opponent, but the like just the bait and switch of like turning around while going in a certain direction. And I wonder how much actual control you have off of that. Like, is there like delay after you do the turn?
That's what I was going to say too.
Is there like turn and then immediately turn again? You know, like,
I feel like there must be a cooldown. Like stuff like that. You know, unless it's not as powerful as we're thinking it is, but seems like it kind of is. Seems like there would be a cooldown. But at the same time, with it being turf war, if you're not actively creating new ink, then like it's not like you not dying isn't like the highest priority thing. So like, yeah, you could just hang out there in your own ink, but then other people are still going to be inking all around you. So like, yeah,
no, but still, that's the thing. You not dying is a huge priority in Splatoon.
I mean, but like if that's
if
your
you
only
die,
thing,
if you die, then that swings the momentum for cover and turf. If you're just in the regular mode, that swings the momentum for cover and turf because there's less people covering turf on your team than there is on another team. But I did even not playing the games. Like I was trying to, it was weird from my perspective seeing a lot of these like kind of nitty gritty things because like obviously, as we'll kind of talk about later, a lot of the things in this direct were aimed primarily at existing player base. And so seeing some of those things, I was like, I can kind of imagine how that plays into various stuff, but I don't know for all of it. But still, yeah, that stuff was cool. So good job, Steph. Yeah. Also, I want to say, just looking at, I have the direct up on the screen now. Watching this the way that I did, I'm glad that I didn't catch it live because a lot of the beginning is for people that have never played this game before. So it's where it's like, you're a squid and you can turn into a kid and you shoot ink and you can move in your ink. I'm like, yeah. And I actually had to, like, when I was like fast forwarding through the parts that I know, they have part of it that talks about the new techniques. The squid surge, which is on the screen right now, was part of that explanation. So I was like, oh shoot, did I miss? Hold on, let me go back. That's not something that's normal. And for what it's worth, this isn't like completely unprecedented for them to like add new movement options because like the dualies for instance, they have like unique movement options because you can roll kind of with the dualies.
Gotcha.
So this is just like a universal tech sort of situation, which is neat.
I think I also saw, I mean, I don't know, but that from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2, in Splatoon 1, you couldn't like walk backwards, ? Something like that. Like you were always facing forward or something along those lines. Whereas then in Splatoon 2, you could. I don't know if that's.
I'd have to.
Whether or not that's true.
Off the top of my head, I can't. It's been a minute since I played Splatoon, but I think that is not right.
Okay, gotcha.
It might not be right. Because I'm pretty sure, like, I don't think that it turns you around when you walk. So like if I'm shooting and I press back on the control stick, I'm pretty sure you're going to still be facing the way that you started when you started shooting,
right?
And you're just going to be moving backwards.
Yeah,
I think
that makes sense for sure. I mean, I would think that would, but yeah, in any case. Good stuff. Yeah, new techniques, and then there's some new abilities. Cool.
New abilities.
Intensify action.
This is like the perks basically. There's new perks for that you can equip to your to your gear,
right.
or that you can buy gear that it's already equipped to. Which is neat.
Gotcha. Nice. Some new battle stages. Are any of these ones returning ones? The ones that are shown on this screen here?
So I have the direct up. They had two separate parts of this section where they announced new ones first, and then they announced some of the old ones. So hold on, let me see if I can see the cutoff point for the does it say Splatland? I'm not looking at the article right now. Does it say the Splatlands in the article? Because those are the ones that are old. The ones that are Splatlands are, new. And then Greater Inkopolis is the old stages. Museum di Alfonsino is the first one that's new. That's old in the game.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's the cutoff point.
I thought the levels looked cool for what it's worth. Again, I don't know what makes for a good or bad Splatoon level, but these ones seemed pretty neat.
Me personally, for me, it's like a Mario Kart thing where it's like, I just don't like the stages that I don't know. If I know the stage, I'm going to wherever and it's fine.
Yeah.
But if I don't know the stage, especially if it has like hazards where you can go off of the stage and die for it, I don't like those because I don't know it. So I'll just randomly die because I don't know the stage. But if I play on the stage, I don't really care. It's whatever. There's never been a stage when I was actively playing Splatoon that I was like, this stage is a bad stage. Yeah, it's not really like a Smash or even Mario Kart sort of thing in that regard. Because there's even some stages that I know in Mario Kart that I don't like. But
yeah,
at least from what I remember, I don't remember disliking any Splatoon stages inherently.
Yeah. Well, nice. I would know, but they look cool. So there you go. Yeah, some other things. There's some new weapons that they showed off, and those seem cool. And there's some special weapons. And then they mention returning content. Yeah, even the new weapons and special weapons things, I don't know what makes something broken or not broken or anything like that, but to my understanding, it seems like most times a new weapon is announced for Splatoon, most people are like, oh man, that's it looks like it's going to be really broken, and then you figure it out and it's like, nah, there's tons of counters to it or something,
Yeah. But also that it's seems... it's the sort of thing that kind of what happens with Smash a lot of the times where a new weapon comes out, everybody's using it. So it can feel like that. The thing that I'm curious about is they said that all weapon types are coming back. Yeah. And if that's true, I wonder if the bubbler's coming back, because the bubbler's cracked from the original Splatoon.
Could also be that it's Bayonetta came back, but they super
nerfed her. I don't know how you nerf the bubbler and make it not broken. And granted, that's a special. So they said all weapon types. So that could mean that there's the Splatter Shot Junior, I think, is the one that had the it looks like a handgun, basically. And that the default one, the bubbler was the special weapon that came with that weapon, the base version of that weapon type. But so then in Splatoon, from what I understand, 2, they took the bubbler out.
Oh, gotcha.
But it seems like, just based off of what they showed in the direct, that every weapon type is coming back, but not every special weapon is coming back.
That's what I understand too. I think we even knew that before this, because I remember hearing about that at some point a couple weeks ago, even somewhere. I don't remember where. But that every weapon type is in there, but just not the whatever, I guess special weapons are on top of that. So
they what? They have weapons on special weapons listed as weapons that are coming back. These are special. So the returning special weapons are TemTem missiles. I hate those. Inkjet, that's fine. Inkstorm, also fine. The only one I hate is the TemTem missiles. Those are cracked. Ultra Stamp, and Booyah Bomb.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Then there's some amiibo is the next thing.
Oh,
all right.
So it does have the triple pack. Because when I was watching it
for the amiibo,
I guess I looked away. But they have the when I was watching it, they had the amiibo that was just one.
I don't remember seeing the triple pack in the direct. To be honest,
exactly. So
not to say it wasn't in there, but I also missed it if it was.
They have an image of it right here on Nintendo Life. Yeah. So I mean, maybe it's a regional thing, which would be annoying.
Also, what's weird though is even on Nintendo Life, under the image, it talks about the three of them separately, $16 each, and then it talks. But it doesn't mention the triple pack even in the details down there. So like, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on with that?
I don't know. They look good though. I still, man, I'm a sucker for a bow and arrow. Like, I think the bow.
I think that's going to be the first weapon that I'm going to try. Is the bow.
I have offshoot thoughts from that, but I'm going to wait on them. And we're going to talk about them in a little bit. But yeah, more things. So deep cut. All right. So this is the next thing. That's the bands. And no, they're not the bands. They're the announcer people and the band. Yeah. Is that how that works?
Yes. Okay. So the idols are like the people that give you your news. Oh, and about this specific. So all right. So all right. We'll do that after that. I want to also touch on some of the things that I think are good for people that want to try the game and wanted to try the game as is and are like okay with it being like tailored to competitive like online play that this game does, and that is one of those things, and that's how the deep cut news rundown works, where in the first game it was something that every time you turned the game on you had to watch the whole thing. You can mash A to like,
even if you like logged in twice in a day, like the second time you log in it's just a new thing?
Yeah, because new stages, so you wouldn't have to watch the whole thing in that case, like the daily news dump of like this new weapon is here or whatever, like Sheldon has new weapons. You wouldn't have to watch that again, but you would have to watch like here's the stages for this hour or whatever.
Gotcha.
But in this game they didn't specifically say that you can skip it, but I would assume that you can skip it because you can watch it at any time, like while you're playing the game, and still be playing the game, and it'd be like on a like picture in picture sort of situation.
That's cool.
So that was one thing that I noticed about that, and I might as well mention other stuff. The thing about being able to play with friends easier. Do they have a breakdown for this specifically on Nintendo Life?
I think they do. It's in kind of everything's
here it is.
Interesting order.
Well, this is the anarchy thing, which is kind of different.
Lobby Ghost training and more. Is it
Lobby Ghost? That was one of the things that that's one of the ways that you can join your friends. Is there'll be like ghosts of your friend people on your friends list, and you can just talk to them and then like join a party with them and play the regular mode on the same team as those people, which was not previously possible. Before, if you wanted to play with your friends, you could do that, like they could join you, but you're not guaranteed to be on the same team. It would alternate.
Interesting.
What team you were on.
It seems like in large part like that included the like complaints that people have had about, like picking specific stages or like various things. It feels like Nintendo's adamant about keeping those things the way they are, but at least they're like refining them to be better versions.
That's the only thing that I would say that they definitely are like, we don't care that you don't like this. It's the stage options. But the playing with your friends thing, like that's just full on addressed. Like there's no monkey's paw thing there.
I guess I was more thinking like the
stage options,
and the thing we were just talking about with the with deep cut at the beginning and like those kinds of things.
But even
it's
that,
like the stuff still exists.
I don't
but
know
it's like
that. I think that is because nobody's complaining that it exists. Like nobody is upset that the game tells you about the game when you turn it on. But it is annoying that like they have this app So you can go on the app and see the information that the game wants to tell you, that it's like, oh, it's these stages, before you turn the game on. So like,
yeah,
I probably already know what the stages are, because I went into the app and I looked at the stages to decide if I even wanted to play the game in the first place 9 times out of 10. You know, so like, to turn the game on, because I know that the stage that I want to play is the active stage right now. And it tell me that information is the same thing as the whole thing that I meme on about, like the Tarzan thing of like, I freaking walk over to get the banana, and then I talk to Turchek or whatever, and they're like, yo, you can get the banana. I'm like, yeah, no doubt, I got it. That is the situation that that is annoying about that. And again, I could be wrong. They could just like, it could just be a thing of like, do you want to hear this again? Which would be weird. But it seems like the fact that the picture-in-picture sort of situation is a feature means that you can skip it.
Yeah.
And then go back to review for if you skipped it or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
yeah, you were saying the test range, and so I think that the idea of the test range too is a nice quality of life thing of just like, I mean, because okay, so what was it like before? If you were waiting to enter a match or whatever, you just kind of were on a loading screen for a while.
Yep. You just sat there.
Yeah. This is way
and
better.
if you're trying to enter your, like, join your friends specifically, it would be like, your friends are in a match, and it'll give you the countdown for the match. I'm pretty sure that you couldn't spectate it, but I might be conflating that with the first game, because for sure you couldn't spectate in the first game. They might have added later on that you could spectate in Splatoon 2.
In this one, when it says, so if your friends are in the middle of a match, you can join mid-match if there's just an opening somewhere. Is that right?
It sounds like what happens is you join the next game. So like, if they're mid-match, and say I'm playing with 3 people, but 4 people want to play, the 4th person just can't yet. They had to play the next game or whatever, right? The 4th person can queue up, and they will replace the random that they pair you with the next game. Because like, in other Nintendo games where like they let you join friends a lot of the times, with probably Mario Kart being the exception, which Mario Kart handles it like this, you just can't ready up. It's like, or it's like a 2v2 kind of mode, or like, but in this game, it's like, all right, we'll just figure out the rest. Like, you have 2 friends with you, we'll give you a 4th member, or 1 friend, or whatever the situation is. And then you can fill it up after the fact, which is also another quality of life improvement that's pretty sick. Also, for people that are coming back from Splatoon 2, something that is sick, and like, you don't even necessarily have to like own the game to do this. If you have save data for Splatoon 2, you can jump right into the anarchy mode. So you don't have to get to a certain rank to play with your friends in ranked, like you used to have to do. That's another quality of life improvement for people.
Which also is nice for new players to likely not be paired up with people that are experts already or whatever. It's nice for the experts, and it's also nice for newbies.
Truth.
So
that's
nice.
Cool.
Yep. Let's see what else. There's lockers, which I don't know. I'm not sure I totally understand the lockers, but they seem cool. It feels like a fun little, like, oh, we worked on Animal Crossing, and that was like, you get to design stuff. So here you go, like, design a thing.
It's just a cosmetic thing.
Okay.
And I mean, that's pretty like synergistic with the rest of the like gameplay loop of Splatoon. Like, Splatoon is so much about like
getting cool clothes,
looking cool, man, looking freaking dope, or fresh, like the game, you know.
True.
Fresh. That's the whole gameplay loop. Is like, you play the game so you can earn money, so that you can either buy weapons so that you're better at the game, so you can earn more money to buy equipment to look cool, man.
Yeah. Nice. And then let's see. There's I'm going to go ahead and skip to this one. There was we'll talk more about this later, but there's the table turf battle. But I'm going to wait, and we're going to talk about that more in detail when we talk about the other parts of it. So it'll come back. But yeah, other stuff. Splatfests, there's 3 teams now, and then there'll be a three-player turf war. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
seems like, I mean, I assume it's going to be balanced well. I mean, balanced well, just like, you know, be fun and not be
I wonder if they'll ever do
chaotic.
like the in between, you know? Like, will all Splatfests be 3 players? I mean, 3 3 teams. Or will there, well, I guess not, because there's 3 idols now. So, or yeah, so there's 3 idols, so there's probably always going to be 3 team Splatfests.
Yeah.
So that
seems like it.
There's already like,
I mean, and even in round is just like 2 teams, and then the second round is all 3 teams or something like that.
The first like part of it is 2 teams, but it's still the 3 different teams. It's just going to match you with it, which is another quality of life improvement, I would say, because there's like, if there's not enough players on a specific team, in the first 2 games, it would match you with your own team a lot. But now they have 3 teams to potentially match you with, or 2 other teams, I should say, to match you with. So that should happen less often. Because you got to imagine that, like, with 3 options, one side is not going to be as skewed as 1v1 sort of situation. So that would be neat.
Go back to and speaking of the 3 of them, to go back to Deep Cut, the main, Fry and Shiver, their fingers, I don't like what's going on with their fingers. They look really like tentacly a little bit. Like they look, I mean, it makes sense because they're squid kids or whatever. But they look like they don't have any bones in them. And I don't like that very much. The big man is great. And there he is. He's just a cool little, big old guy.
I wonder if they're going to make amiibos for them.
Cut. Oh yeah, they should. Yeah, I feel like everybody likes them, right?
The big man amiibo is probably going to. They're like they. I don't know if they'll do a triple pack for that, because the big man amiibo is probably going to be a bigger amiibo, so he'll probably cost more money.
Yep. It's funny, man. They're so good at having just like a marketable something. Like it feels equivalent to to mouthful mode, car mouth kind of thing. Just in that it's like, here's this whole thing, and I saw so many people's takeaway just being like, big man. And that was it, you know? And so yeah, they're just good at coming up with that kind of thing.
Need something to latch on to. Something. And I feel like a lot of times, like, that's like Trev, we talked about this before, where he was like saying he doesn't like the like early Pokemon, like the like Smoliv and like Lechonk, because they're just like meme fodder. But I feel like it's actually the other way around. Like I feel like they definitely have Pokemon archetypes that they want to fulfill, where they're like, we want the Rattata, we want the Pidgey, blah blah blah. But that's less of a like we need to fill a marketing quota, and more we need to make it an ecosystem first and foremost, and then the marketing team goes through the Pokemon and they're like, where's the memes? Show us the memes, which ones? You know, I think that's similar here, where like I'm sure like in the design process they're like, all right, how do we make this a toy, you know, like that sort of thing. But I think that it just so happens that certain characters are like, this, people will like this one, you know, but they don't necessarily know which one that will be
too. I think, like you said, they make the things and then they're like, they design the people and then they tweak them accordingly and then kind of nudge them into the direction of
like when they see in the last game, right? Like I doubt that when they made Pearl and Marina, they knew that people would pop off for Marina more than Pearl. You know, they probably were just like, all right, here's 2 options, and then whoever likes whatever, that cool, you know. So.
Yeah, there it is.
Is there
some other things? there's kind of sort of Miiverse sort of thing, the mailbox.
Oh yeah,
I don't know in what way
that's
works.
returning from Splatoon 2, and that was like a bastardized version of the Miiverse feature in Splatoon 1.
Okay. Right.
So that's just like you go to the mailbox, you like freaking draw the thing, and then you can send it to your socials, and then you drew the thing in Splatoon, nice, and then it'll appear in the like overworld.
Okay, cool. I was wondering about that. Because, I know that was the thing in the Miiverse. Did it appear in the overworld at all in Splatoon 2?
Yes. These are always cursed. They're always cursed.
I can imagine so. Can you turn it off?
Maybe. I don't know if I ever tried. You might be able to. It's cursed, though. So maybe you might want to, if you can.
But other things that are just kind of like detail things. Salmon Run. It's bigger and honestly more chaotic. Like already, horde modes of things stress me out, and seeing the whatever it was called, the like super horde mode, or
it's like the big run or
big
something
wave,
like that.
Big run. That's the one. You got it. Yep. So stressful. Like I just have like a half a panic attack just watching Big Run. But like, I mean, if you're good at it, then cool.
I feel, and that's really interesting because like I feel like this is supposed to be the less stressful mode, where it's like funny. It's like because you're playing against bots, it's like you're all your friends and you're playing against the bots, rather than it being this like more competitive playing against people. You might get freaking like squid bagged or whatever and be tight about that. Like the like salmonids are not going to squid bag you.
It's true. It reminds me a little bit just of the kind of stress you'd get from like Overcooked or something, where it's just like too much stuff is happening or whatever. But I think doing it with friends, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. That like if you're doing it with other people, then that kind of lowers the stakes some, because it feels like teamwork and all that.
Yep.
But new things they showed look cool. But we're okay. So then the last things that we're going to talk about that I think will kind of bring us into the other part of the conversation too are story mode, a little bit the little tabletop mode thingy, and I guess we can talk about post-launch updates and DLC. That doesn't necessarily have to do with the other part of the conversation, but there's going to be updates, so there's more stuff, which like good track record already from Splatoon 2, so I would expect more of the same.
This actually, this is another thing of them addressing like complaints to a certain degree, of like in Splatoon, it was more like a drip feed, and it was kind of a random drip feed, like Splatoon 1 and 2, of like, here's a new weapon, like here's a new stage. But in this, it's more of a like planned out drop sort of schedule, where it's like every season or whatever, I guess, is like an equivalent to this. There's going to be new weapons, new stages, new gear or whatever, and you can like set your clock to it of like, okay, this is going to happen on this day, instead of it just being random drops until who knows when. They already laid out the roadmap, which is neat. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. It says every 3 months from launch for 2 years. So yeah, that's cool. No, that is nice, because like then you at least know it's coming, and it doesn't feel like, I don't know. Sometimes that kind of stuff can be a little stressful.
Right. I wonder how that's going to change the meta too. Like, because like I said, when new weapons come out, people usually are all using that weapon, and since it's not as like focused, it's more of a shotgun blast. I wonder if it's just going to be like, you'll see a splattering of weapons for a while, and then like it'll like whittle down to the best one, and people are like all going to be using that for a while or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They also did. I like kind of zoned out for this part, but there's the stickers, like the like. You do like the tag situation. I don't know. Like, can you do the Discord thing? Because it looked like in the early like promo stuff, it looked like people were just straight up putting their Discord hashtag number thing. But I don't know if they like went into super detail on that.
Yeah.
whether that's just a random thing or something that, you know.
Yeah. So are you saying just that like people would put their Discord name so that you can find their Discord names?
Yeah, because in the like the first time that they like teased this feature, it looked like there was like Discord numbers, like the notation or whatever in the title thing, but it doesn't look like that's there now. I wonder what the limit is.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like you could do that still, but it might just be your Switch name, I guess.
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Future, I guess. But yeah, so then there's the other part that you wanted to talk about, and I mean also want to talk about, I guess, is just so Splatoon 3.
Right.
You know, there was a direct and stuff, and just the identity of this game, I guess, is probably the best thing to call it, and like whether that matches up with what people were wanting or expecting or whatever. I know that my expectations going into this, I mean, I don't know that I had a lot of them, but yeah, I mean, I think my hope was that it would entice me to want to play Splatoon. And I think the direct did a good job of showing me that this is a great version of Splatoon, but I still don't know that it's necessarily enticed me to come on board. But also, like, I don't fault it for that. So, but maybe some people are. So let's get into that.
So the thing about this is, like, I feel like people just in general are like weirdly averse to trying things. Like they want everything to fit into these like really well-defined bubbles that are like specific to them. Like, because Splatoon has elements of a platformer, they're like, okay, well, just make it that part. Like, just make it the platformer, and then I'll like it, and then it'll be great. And instead of the opposite of that, which are not necessarily the opposite, instead of the more positive part of that. And I think the reason why it is so influenced by platformers is to kind of like guide you into trying new and different things, where it's like, okay, here's this on-ramp that is accessible to you because it's familiar. You like platformers. This is part platformer, but it's also this, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of that, people are like, no, that's not the thing that I want. It's not the thing that I know, so it's not a thing that I like, you know? And there's a lot of little like mini examples of that in Splatoon that I feel like it's like uniquely victim to this idea, because it does a lot of that where it's like a little bit of a lot of different things. Like the platforming example is one. Another example that's pretty big is motion in this game, like the motion controls. People feel like because motion is, first of all, they give you the option to not use motion, but it is just objectively better to use motion. And rather than see why it's better and try it, people are like, nah, other games that I try motion in, it's not good, so I don't like it. It won't be good because I don't like the other games that do it. It's not good. And I think that's dumb, because me personally, motion control shooters that I've played before were not great. I agree with that. But then I tried Splatoon, and Splatoon's good at it. You know? And so good at it that people pressure shooters to shooting game developers for Nintendo Switch to implement similar controls in their video game. So like, this is just the general consensus, or not general consensus, but the general outlook on the game that I wish more people had, where it's like, okay, this game has aspects of things that I like. Let me use that as motivation to try to play this game that is different from that, but inspired by it in certain ways. Because I do genuinely believe that people that don't think they'll like this game will like this game a lot, even for what it actually is, you know?
It's interesting because I feel like as a Nintendo game, it probably gets this more than most other games where, like, for the most, if I see a shooter that, even if I'm like, oh, I like the design of this, or I like, aspects of it or whatever. I mean, I don't know, take Fortnite, for example, where like, if I think just the look of the world and the vibe is cool, if I'm not sold on the main, like, thing, then I'm okay to just kind of bounce off, or whatever. Right. And just even not try it, or try it and then not be sold on it or whatever. But I think because it's a Nintendo IP especially, and a popular Nintendo IP and a cool Nintendo IP, it's a lot of Nintendo fans that are like, I want to like it, but it's just not the things that I already like. And then, like you said, not giving it a chance. I mean, myself included, I haven't really given it much of a chance. But I know for me that is, certainly some of it where it's like, yeah, it doesn't already fit into the like mechanical bubbles that I would want it to. And so therefore, I would want it to fit into those things for me to like be for sure. Weird about this.
So like, we're obviously guilty of like seeing series and franchises, Pokemon, for example, and being like, change this,
Star Fox, whatever.
Yeah. But the difference here is Splatoon has a very vibrant, very large, active fan base that likes the thing that it currently is. Pokemon, for instance, has a very large, very active, very successful game on its hands. But a lot of the fans, I would say, like all of them to some degree, and on the online sphere, are not happy with what it currently is for one reason or another. So I think that then makes a game like that open season for like suggestions of like, this would be cool, and then Star Fox on the other hand doesn't have any of that, like it has fans, like people definitely like Star Fox and they're like, oh, I wish that Star Fox was back and blah, blah, blah. But the most successful Star Fox game is like not successful in the eyes of Nintendo, it's at like what, 4 million units or something like that. And I think even that is a stretch. Nintendo, what? They see 4 million units and they're like, it's a failure, unless it's like freaking Snipper Clips or something, Right. And I think even Snipper Clips might have did better than that. So it's like, that is the thing. Like, it may seem like on face value that it's like, oh, well, people do this with Pokemon, so why not Splatoon? But it's a different situation. Like, Splatoon it's by no means in need of suggestions. Like this Splatoon 3 will sell more than Splatoon 2, and Splatoon 2 sold 12 million copies or whatever,
Yeah, it's so for me with all that stuff, I think the single player was the thing I was most interested in seeing, because like I think the hard sell on the game for me would be just that I don't play online basically at all, and that it's, I don't know, just kind of hard to as a dad, because sometimes I gotta like stop and stuff. So then I think I was hoping that the single player would be something substantial enough that if I spent $60 and only played the single player, that I'd be okay having missed out on the other part, even if mechanics being exactly the same or whatever. And I mean, to be honest, we just didn't even see that much of the single player, so could be that it's that, but at this point I'm just kind of gonna wait for reviews to
I mean, you can let me know what to expect on my account. But that's one thing.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
But
I very much can.
Even apart from that, I would still say that, like, because like, yeah, you said you don't have that much time to play games, you don't usually play online games, but I feel like even with that, it's like, if the main reason why you play the game is the story mode, and then you have the additional optional incentive to like, when I have time to, I'll play it online, like that, we can play it, dude, that would be dope. Like, and it doesn't have to be this like regularly scheduled thing. I could just play, okay, I have 20 minutes. That's like 4 matches right there, dude. Like,
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I think I don't fault the game or anything for the story mode, if the story mode does or doesn't match my, like, what I would want it to be or something like that, I guess. It sounds like, maybe some other people do, and I think that would be futile, a little bit silly to, expect the thing that's obviously the on-ramp to the game. It's, that is the tutorial and probably story contextualization and stuff and side mode, honestly, to be like the bread and butter of the thing.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like lore and all that, I'd say the story, it is pretty analogous to Pokemon, where it's like, obviously Pokemon has like a whole lot of like lore and there is story stuff that happens, just because like the bread and butter and the reason why the game exists is not the story mode doesn't mean that it doesn't still have like value to people. I think Splatoon is like almost exactly like that. The only difference is it's not as long. But I would even argue it's not that short either. Like, even hold on, wait, let me double check how long to beat on Splatoon 2, because like if we include the DLC, which for Splatoon 2 is part of the expansion pack, and I would assume so is this says for main story plus extras 15.5 hours. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And it says main story 8 hours. That's still pretty good for a platformer that Nintendo made, So like even if all you do is play the main story, it's pretty 1-to-1 with other Nintendo platformers. And on top of that, you have the option to engage with the online multiplayer stuff or Salmon Run, and you can even play it locally if you have friends that have another Switch. So
yeah, it was, I think, all that was cool. The one thing I'm still a little baffled by, or maybe less baffled, more just curious, was just the way that they first announced Splatoon 3 feels very different to what it actually is. That whole, like, I'm sure that's a part of the game. Obviously, probably it's when you start the game or whatever, but it just feels like it set a vibe that it's like it's going to be this like
it definitely looked like it was going to be like this like open world adjacent sort of like big story mode kind of situation.
Which it's a shame that, because I still think it seems like they could still definitely evolve the story mode even despite all the other things. Like I would rather that they spend more time on making sure that the actual like popular mode like stays as good as possible. So like that's where they should put their time. But that said, the sell of what they were trying to show at first of like this, apocalyptic wasteland open world kind of thing, like would have been cool. So like wouldn't have minded that. But,
I think that there's still going to be to some degree that there. I also want to hold on. Let me also look into seeing how long to beat for Splatoon 1, because Splatoon 1 might even been shorter than that. But I think that just with the like added mechanics, right, like that alone feels like something that would increase the length of the game, because that's how it's structured. The original Splatoon is 5.5 hours. So I think that this will probably go along a similar line of thinking, where it's like somewhat longer, like we might get 10 to 12, which I think is pretty good. On top of the fact that we're getting the paid DLC. We didn't really talk about that. But the paid DLC, which again, I didn't mention. I'd assume that that's an expansion pack thing.
And we should talk about paid DLC in a second. But we did also get the table turf battle, which obviously is the main sell of this game. So
no, I saw that honestly, and I was like, this is a Parker thing. This right here is something that you would engage with.
Stealth said the exact same thing on Twitter. He was like, everything looks great from it. I mean, Twitter, the direct was good. But that table turf mode is probably the like most exciting part for me. And I was like, I feel that. I like a spin-off. Like I think spin-offs are fun. And so I've wanted them to do, was not the kind of Splatoon spin-off I was expecting by any means, but it makes sense. It's a good one. So yeah, it's fun. And honestly, the fact that it's with NPCs is nice, because it's the kind of thing, like I like games like this, but people online are going to be better than me at this kind of a thing, just because people get really good at stuff. And I'm not like great at this, but it's just fun. So having it with NPCs means like, you know, there's only so much of a skill ceiling that needs to exist as compared to, you know, humans who are better at stuff. So yeah, so that's a fun little thing.
True. I'll probably play that once or twice and then never again. Yeah. But I'm happy that you'll play it more than that. Probably.
Yep. But yeah, the last thing is the DLC, the paid DLC stuff. What? Yeah. I mean, you said you probably think like Octo expansion kind of thing.
I don't know. The way that they talked about Octo expansion, I mean, they just announced Octo expansion. They didn't say anything about like we're going to get paid DLC later, but like it seems like this would probably be bigger than that. The way that they're teasing it. I don't know
if I
don't know if that means that it'll be like more story focused or anything like that. But at the very least, I think it will be bigger. I think that we'll have more content in some way. And I also think that it's probably going to be the same. And I mentioned this for a second, but same model as all the other DLC recently, where it's going to be like $25 to $30, but also part of the expansion pack. I'd be shocked if it's not, to be honest.
Yep, agreed. Them talking about it the way that they are, I can't help but, you know, get some high expectations again and be like, oh, it's just like a little open world adventure. You know, it's a Legends Arceus situation.
I think like bare minimum, which you should expect, is more of what the story mode currently is, which I think you would like. For what it's worth, because
for sure.
Splatoon is right now, since the first game, it's Mario Galaxy. Like that's what the game is, and that's pretty neat. What the DLC does is just give you more stages, which is good. I think that the DLC in Splatoon 2 basically doubled the playtime on how long to beat. So I would assume that that's what they're going to do here, is at least double it. So if what's going to happen is we get 10 to 12 hours, I would expect for the DLC to be around 10 to 12 more.
Nice.
So it's pretty good.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Pretty good amount of content.
Should be fun. I'll probably at least start playing it off of yours and then, I don't know, just go from there. But
I would say what you should do is you should play it on my account, like play like the first few levels on my account, and if you like it, you should get it, because to like that, like if you like it and you end up playing more levels, then you lock yourself into having to play it on my account when the DLC comes out, unless you want to replay it again when the DLC comes out, and then do it that way. That's what I would suggest personally.
I probably also will try the what is it? There's just Splatfest kind of. Is it a Splat like a free for all Splatfest? But the Splatfest, you're talking about the demo.
Yeah, that's an online thing for what it's worth. But yeah, that is. We didn't talk about that at all either.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That's happening. There's the free Splatfest in place of what they used to do, which was the test fires, which I think makes sense because it's like, again, Splatoon is like a known quantity. It's not like this new game that they're just trying out to see if people will like it, you know. So they're like, all right, the first hit's free.
Yeah,
we know that this is a game that people like, but the first hit's free.
Yeah.
So that would be cool. I'm gonna stream that.
Yeah.
Should be sick. And that's like what, August 27th?
August 27th. Yep. So yeah, that's coming out soon. But even sooner, Kirby Dream Buffet. We found out the official release date. It rolls out onto the Switch. LOL. It rolls. He rolls. I get it. That's it's $15. Comes out next Wednesday. So that's pretty soon.
Oh, I didn't even know we had a price. I was going to say that. I was going to be like, yo, do we have a price?
It wasn't in the video for some reason, but it was. You can just look it up on the eShop, and it shows $15. So
nice.
Yeah.
I'll try it.
Still think it looks like a fun time. I do. It seems like, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure you can only do 2 players locally on one Switch from maximum. So then if you want to do 4 players, you have to be across 2 Switches, I guess. which seems
That
a
seems
little
dumb.
weird. Yeah. I don't know why that is. I'm trying to find it in the trailer. But yeah, it shows 2-player local co-op on one Switch, and then it's split screen on there.
How does online work?
I think you can, it shows online, 1 on each Switch, but probably obviously can also do 2 per Switch, and then, whatever.
Okay. So what
normal.
the heck? Why do they do that? They always mess up one or the other.
I know. It's weird.
Like, one's always like, this is pretty good, and this is why I would play this game. And then the other one sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, I feel like if you're going to get one right, probably get online right.
yeah, I agree.
At this point, and then like people can independently figure out local however they want to, like if we have friends come over, then we can just also buy it on Ashley's Switch and then something. I don't know.
Not even you wouldn't even have to buy it.
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Could we be on both of our profiles? I don't know. Find out. If I go in airplane mode, would it work on the same profile on 2 things? Bluetooth local? I'm definitely going to test that out.
Does the Bluetooth not work on the Switch
I think it does, yeah.
for airplane
So
mode?
theoretically, yeah, you can turn Bluetooth on airplane mode.
I could
unless
test
there's
that
a check
right now,
through that.
but that would be a process. So
Too much work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I could test that later with like Mario Kart
But
or
even
something.
if we had to buy it twice, it's $15. So like,
Exactly. Yeah, it's not that bad. So yeah, it just looks like a fun time. It honestly looks like just Nintendo made Cake Bash, the Code Sync game.
Yep.
So a bunch of the mini games are like, this looks a lot like Cake Bash. And like that was a fun, local multiplayer game. So I'm not mad about it, but yeah.
maybe those devs are
Yeah, exactly. They could very well be.
neat.
Yeah. So there's that. No transition for this one, but a next news article. I just saw this and pulled it, so I don't know anything about it yet. Arceus Chronicles coming to Netflix this September.
Oh, I do know about this. That
seems fun. That's about it.
They did.
Is it a movie or a show?
It's I think it's 4 episodes. It's a 4-episode Pokemon series thing. Well, it's not even. I don't even think it's a new series. It's just the Arceus content for Journeys. I think.
Oh, gotcha.
Hold on, wait. Let me click and look at this trailer. Yep,
Gosh.
that's what it is. That's what this thing is.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's fun. So there's that. Nothing crazy there. I mean, so yeah, Pokemon stuff, and just like Pokemon stuff, TemTem is coming to Switch on September 6th. And I just wanted to talk about this for a second, because it's been a long time since it was supposed to come to Switch, and now it finally is and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like this big thing, like the Pokemon killer sort of thing isn't everything. And then now it's coming out, and I feel like no one's going to play it probably. Like, I feel like it would have had a better life just not even talking about coming to Switch, doing a multiverses.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just curious on your thoughts on this.
That seems like
too.
a newer thing, though, to be honest. Like, I feel like a lot of the games that come to Switch later don't intentionally not come to Switch.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a thing where like it doesn't come to Switch because it does like the Tony Hawk thing, where it's like buy this, right. Everybody buy it here, and then the Switch version comes out and it's like, all right, buy it again. But obviously like multiverses, I feel like very intentionally is like, all right, well, we're going to, instead of positioning ourselves as the Smash killer, we're the like anti-Smash sort of situation. Like we're very not that. Like we're good at a different set of things, and this is, I mean, that could have been that version of that, I guess. But I think that this was just them being a small team and not being able to port it on the timeline that they thought they were, and blah blah blah. That said, I'm probably going to try this, but like I don't like It's only because it's on Switch that I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
Because like there's a whole bunch of other games and like Nexamon and like, there's a lot of different Pokemon clones that like I don't get it. I don't get it because like I mean there's obviously people that like Pokemon because it's an RPG, right? But even if I did, I feel like a Pokemon clone would take out everything that I like about Pokemon. And just make it like it's just we got Pokemon at home and it couldn't be anything but that.
Honestly, I feel like the games that are most enticing to me are less the like, oh, this is fixing Pokemon, and more the ones that are like, yeah, we like Pokemon, but we decided to do something, you know, a little different with it. Like, I haven't played it, but I know that I would like Monster Sanctuary, which is like, I don't know. I've seen little bits and pieces of it here and there, but it seems cool. And it seems kind of like, you know, they took the idea of Pokemon, but then it's now, what is it? A roguelike or it's a Metroidvania, but like you with Pokemon basically.
Right.
And
but without Pokemon. And that's the biggest thing for me.
But like at that point, it's more like a Metroidvania with some like Pokemon-ish things in it, which I'm fine with that as opposed to it being like, it's like a Pokemon game, you know? Because yeah, especially the more it is like Pokemon and tries to like fix specific things of Pokemon, the more confusing it also gets because there's familiarity that now gets like overwritten with other thing, you know, it's like, so I know I already get confused enough of like ice type being weak to this, that, or the other, or like fairy type being weak to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. When they make their own type chart.
Exactly. Yep. This one is, wood type.
And that's the thing, right? Where like, say, I don't want to name a specific one. I was going to name a specific one, but say they came out with a Pokemon clone, and it was exactly everything I wanted in a Pokemon game. I still wouldn't want to play it because it's not Pokemon. And that's like it's not in the same world. It doesn't have the same characters. The designs probably won't be like, I don't want to say as good, but appeal to me as much, you know, like it's not the format of Pokemon that I like. And I feel like that's true for a lot of other people where they like Pokemon because of the world and the character designs and all that stuff. And even for the people that do like the gameplay of Pokemon, right? Like the world of Pokemon, the designs of Pokemon, all the stuff that keeps me like invested is also a part of why they like it too. Because otherwise all these clones that are like, we're fixing Pokemon would pop off.
Yeah, exactly. And at this point too, you know, I wonder, I mean, I guess they did it with Black and White, but like a Pokemon gen that had none of our familiar Pokemon in it, would probably still be fine because it's got Pokemon behind it. It's got all the mechanics that people are at least familiar with. And it's got like people who are just good at monster design. So like that, it's got like, all those things going for it.
Even with Black and White not having the Pokemon, it still has the Pokemon design language. So it's like, you'll still find a Pokemon that you probably like out of every generation because they still have the same philosophies behind them.
And I mean, also, you know, there's for the people that create the monsters there too, like there's got to be so many on the cutting room floor that an indie dev wouldn't have the luxury to put on the cutting room floor, you know, like they would design
I've mentioned this before because Justin calls them monsters too. That's like another version of it for me where it's like, that's so weird to me. Like I know that Pokemon obviously means pocket monsters, right? But it's such a different thing in my head now. That it's like a Pokemon is
creatures.
A Pokemon.
I feel like it's probably,
I would just call them Pokemon. Like I don't know. So like I'm going to try TemTem and probably play it on stream. But like I don't know, man. It's not Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds fanboyish, But like in my head, it's different from that. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's different than like I like Pokemon because that's the side, that's the gang that I picked, you know? Like, nah, I grew up with Pokemon and also Digimon, and I didn't like Digimon for very specific things. It wasn't because like I just like this one better. I got this one first. I like this logo more. It's like there's just philosophies behind both of them that I resonate more with the former than I did the latter, you know?
I do remember watching the first episode of Digimon. Like, it was pretty hyped up. I feel like before it was coming out, it was like, you know, there's a new whatever thing. And I remember watching the first episode, and for about a week or two, I was like, am I like, do I like Digimon more than Pokemon? And I had to like think about it. And then I was like, nah. Like, no,
and if that was a thing, I wouldn't fault you, and I wouldn't be surprised because I do think that a lot about Digimon is your bag, like that. It's the stuff that you're into, you know. But me, Digimon's just even more RPG-y, like Wii version of Pokemon, and I don't like any of that. That's stuff that I tolerate in Pokemon. It's not what I come to Pokemon for.
Yep, we come to Pokemon for the Pokemon, and we come to Nintendo
in front of a
their
Digimon fan.
On...
I talk about this stuff with Alec all the time.
Digimon's fun, man. Is that from the first episode? That GIF, Alec? Probably.
I don't know if it's the first episode, but I do know it's the first season.
Yeah, for sure. What a time!
Yes.
He said yes. Yeah. There's some cool Digimon, I'm not gonna lie. So, but yeah, there you go.
Vmon.
There's that.
That's it. And Agumon's okay, but I like Vmon. The Agumon is acceptable.
Whatever evolves into Garurumon, I like that guy.
I have no idea. I only know the names of Agumon and Vmon.
Gabumon. That's it.
That's it.
I like Gabumon and his whole line.
Which one is that?
Fun.
What does
That's
it look
the little
like?
wolfy guy. With the
that doesn't
horn.
answer my question. Is he he's like the freaking, he's like black and white? He has like black stripes?
He's like blue and white.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I know him.
He's a fun little guy. So I'd say he's probably up there.
I'll probably forget his name the second that this is over. But
I have no transition into this, but yeah, there was some Q&A from the investors briefing from Nintendo, and we got a couple little tidbits out of it. So here's an article that talks about that. I'm just going to read it from the top, and then we'll talk about whatever we talk about. Last week, we shared a tidbit from Nikkei. This is from Go Nintendo. From Nikkei report on various elements of Nintendo's business. Today, bring us the official English translation of that interview so we can now share more specific details. Nikkei had the chance to speak with Nintendo president Shintaro Furukawa about Nintendo's business in general, the procurement of semiconductors for Switch production, Switch sales, and so on. You can see a breakdown of the discussion in the excerpts below. First up, here's Nintendo's comment on how the semiconductor situation is going. Nintendo will continue to sell 3 Switch models: the standard model, the Switch Lite with a reduced price, size, features, and the OLED model. We'll work out the best strategy as we go along. We're doing our best to procure high-quality products at an appropriate price with an eye toward the next few years. Cool.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's also a very non-statement. It just there. Okay.
Yeah, like we're doing the thing that we're currently doing, and we're going to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah. Chronically Cal said, "I love corporate. I said nothing of substance. Speak." Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's their favorite kind of speaking. These.
It is. Next up, Furukawa once again said Nintendo has no plans to increase the price of the Switch due to the scarcity of components. This time around, Furukawa offered up 2 reasons why the Switch price will remain the same. So this is interesting. We're not considering that a price increase at this point for 2 reasons. In order to offer a unique entertainment to a wide range of customers, we want to avoid pricing people out. Our competition is the variety and entertainment in the world.
The variety of entertainment in the world.
Thank you. Yes. Our competition is the variety of entertainment in the world, and we always think about pricing in terms of the value of the fun we offer. Our products also include software. Nintendo sold more than 100 million Switch units so far, and it's important to maintain the momentum of our overall business. Generally speaking, a weak yen makes domestic Switch sales less profitable.
Yeah. I mean, also makes sense. And like, they probably could get away with upping the price if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing that they will not.
Yeah, I mean, especially with like, I don't know, everything else is getting so much more expensive. So like, yeah, you know, sales are going to be down because it costs twice as much to buy milk now. Yep. So like that kind of stuff just adds up. So yeah, it's definitely the smart move, all things considered.
Right. And also, it's still the same price that it was when it launched. So
yeah.
Like, I mean, there's obviously the Switch Lite, and that's like a cheaper price point to like come in on. But like for them, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to freaking 6 years into its life still be selling the console at full price. I can't think of a console in the history of video games that has been able to do that. Like every other console has gotten an official permanent price drop halfway through at this point of its life, you know, like 3 years in. A lot of times less than that, most consoles get some sort of like, even if it's like $50, the Switch to this day has still not gotten that.
It's insane.
That's nuts.
Yep. And I mean, and yeah, finally Furukawa shared his outlook for Switch to hit sales targets for this fiscal year, which I feel like plays into all that as well. It's in its 6th year since launch. All I can say is that we'll try to keep up sales at the same pace. Having hit software also gives a boost to hardware. We have a lineup of new games that'll allow us to take a crack at meeting our sales forecast, including Splatoon 3 coming out in September and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in November.
Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting that they named Splatoon 3 as one of their big boon games. That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm still curious. I mean, like they've got plenty of games coming out this year, and especially including third parties and stuff, but I'm still curious if anything else also comes out this year. We'll find out.
I kind of doubt it at this point. Like, as far as like anything like big, you know.
I mean, we found out about all the Mario stuff coming out.
True.
We found out in like September, and then some of it came out in September.
Right. But the stuff that came out, I mean, sales wise, the All Stars collection is a big deal. But like,
right. Yeah.
Is it, yeah.
I mean, I think the kinds of things that I could see happening is like Wind Waker, Twilight
like
Princess
they can
HD
make
kind
in
of
6
thing.
months. Like
Basically, yeah. Or like, some stuff that would have been announced that's like medium sized that could have been announced in June and they just didn't because they didn't. Yeah. And then they could announce it now. But yeah, definitely not anything huge.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, it'll be like stuff like what you just said, and like third party ports could be like randomly announced.
Yep. I mean, and those could be exciting things, like if, Persona 5, that level of a thing, like that's a very exciting thing to happen, but it's also not.
When is that
incredulous
coming out? Is it like
October 21st or something?
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure something like that.
I'll potentially play that. Maybe. But then again, I probably won't. Because I already have it. I already have it for free. On Switch? I have no idea.
I'm looking it up. Persona 5 Switch. No, that's Strikers. Get out of here. Alec, if you know, let me know. But I don't know. I don't feel like. Hey, I'm trying one last thing. Persona 5 Royal Switch. If this doesn't get it, then I don't care enough.
Is it like on the...
Okay, I don't care enough.
Okay.
We'll find out some other time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for news. And there it is. Good stuff.
No more news.
Now, into the next bit. Alec, I was asking, do you know? No, it's fine. You don't have to be listening to that part. If Persona 5 Royal and stuff, if each of those games are $60, like 3, 4, and 5, or not? I couldn't find the information on where, and maybe you know.
I would be kind of surprised if 4 and 3 were.
I know, that's how I feel too.
But 6, I would be surprised if it's not.
5 is okay, and then the other ones are like 30 each or 40 each, maybe. How much is Persona 3 on Switch?
And is that supposed to be coming out this year too, or is it just 5?
Oh, we don't know about that one yet. That's right. They're not coming out at the same time.
I think 5
yeah.
is just
5 is coming out first, then the other ones are coming out later. That's
Yep.
We got it. Good teamwork, everybody.
It's true. What we're playing?
Yeah, playing games.
Yeah, I'm playing games. Are you playing games?
A little bit.
Okay. Do you want to talk about your games first, or do we want to talk about games I'm playing first?
Okay, so a little bit more Mario Kart because it's Mario Kart and that's fun. The only notable thing is I decided to start Celeste again, and Celeste is fun.
Why?
I don't know. Oh, I do know why. I'll post this on Twitter or something. I'll post this on Twitter at some point. Ezra and I were just hanging out in her room. And for anybody who doesn't know, she's my 1-year-old daughter. We were hanging out in her room and I was like, I'm just going to put on music because she likes music sometimes. So I put on the Celeste soundtrack on my phone. Just felt like a fun thing for her to listen to. And then she took my phone, and as it was playing, she turned on the camera and the flash and then started recording a video because babies are geniuses somehow.
It's true.
And she just had like a little rave recording a video, like flailing the camera around with the flash on. Her face was like deadpan the whole time, just like in a trance. I like to the Celeste music, and I was cracking up. I didn't realize she was taking a video for a while, and then like right at the end of the video, the camera falls and you see her face for like 1 second, and it was just really, really funny. So yeah, listening to that made me feel like, I don't know, maybe play Celeste again. So I don't think I'm gonna like get to the end or anything. I'm just in the second world. I'll probably fall off before that, but I mean, I remembered really enjoying it, and
good game.
Holds up. Good game. Yeah.
Is anything else?
No, I think that's about it right now.
Okay.
A little bit more Golden Sun, yeah. But otherwise,
I'm playing multiverses with my friend Wes, and somewhat with like my other friend Zay. Sometimes we play. We just go in the group chat, and if somebody's playing multiverses, and like whoever's there first is the one that we're squadding with, man. But most of the time it's me and Wes that are playing the video game, and we're cracked. It's pretty fun, but it's still not Smash. Speaking of Smash, I'm playing Smash, and I had a revelatory moment again. This happens a lot where I have a different outlook or a new discovery on how a very specific mechanic works, and that changes how I play the entire video game. Which is like in the first like few days makes me slightly worse because I'm trying to like figure out how to play with that in my repertoire and not unlearn good habits to try to force this into how I play in general. And what that thing is this time is falling aerials. So in fighting games, there's the general triangle of like advantages and disadvantages of like attack beats grab, grab beats block, block beats attack, right? Smash has another triangle that I never even thought about as a triangle. It's just something that I would inherently like, or like intuitively do without thinking about it. But now that I actively know it's a thing, it's freaking I'm about to be cracked, dude. But the second triangle is rising aerials beats falling aerials, falling aerials beats shield, shield beats rising aerials. Because like if you fall on the shield, it's safe. Because you fall on the shield, they can't do anything. They can't hit you. They can't grab you if you space it right. If you rise over the shield, they can up smash out of shield, up be out of shield a lot of times. And if you freaking, what was the other thing? I think that's all the situations. Oh, and if you fall on top of an aerial that is coming up at you, you get hit away. That's the last part of that equation. So the reason why I figured this out specifically is I did a session with another Pokemon trainer player, and I was trying to figure out like why my Vanish state is not as long as a lot of other Pokemon trainers with Squirtle specifically. And it's because I'm so used to using Rising Aerials with Ivysaur, because Ivysaur is more like aerial, like Rising Aerial centric. That's where Ivysaur is going to get their combos. Like you're mostly going to be in the air. But Squirtle, I mean, really can get combos anywhere, but if you're doing a Rising Aerial, it's going to send you at an angle that's different, and you can't usually get true follow-ups off of a lot of his Rising Aerials. Right. And after learning this, just that one thing was like, oh my freaking God, my Squirtle's about to be cracked. Because I saw him do it, like once he brought that up, and I was like, that's right. And there was like another thing that he brought up, which a lot of these players tell me this, but like he was like, yeah, your neutral's really good. Like, and that's the hard part, is the neutral, because that's like the player versus player game. You can learn combos playing against a training dummy. You know, you can't learn how to like be in the mind of your opponent by playing it by yourself. So that is what I'm working on, is the one player game of being used to using Rising Aerials and Falling Aerials in opportune times. Nice. So that's my little project that I'm embarking on. Oh, also update on the local situation. I talked about this on stream, but not here. The last local was a weird local, and it was a crew battle. So it wasn't like an open bracket situation. That, man, so some people might have saw my tweet. I freaking forgot my Pro controller. And, and I was so pissed. So I went to register. And I knew I didn't have my Pro controller, because when I walked out, I was like, oh my God, I didn't put it in my bag. And I know I didn't leave it in my bag, because I've been using a controller that I just use all the time, period, for everything. Even though I have 4 controllers, but at one point or another, I left my controller downstairs, or all 4 of my controllers downstairs, to play with everybody, and I never brought the other ones that I don't actively use up. So then anyway, I came to the local, I registered, and I was like, crap, I don't have my controller. And I was like, all right, they have controllers there, because it's also like it's a freaking internet cafe, so they have controllers to borrow. But all he had was GameCube controllers and GameCube shaped controllers, and it sucked. So then I was playing the game, and I'm warming up, and I'm like, this is so bad. Like, this feels terrible. This controller sucks. I don't know why people like it for games that are not Mario Sunshine and Luigi's Mansion, and if you have 20 years of Melee muscle memory. But I do not have that, because I stopped using the GameCube controller like 10 years ago. And that's 10 years longer than it should have took, because the controller sucks. And for Smash specifically, it mostly sucks because I don't like the additional travel of the triggers. Like the fact that since an ultimate, there's no light shield. Light shield is not a thing that exists. So I can't just a little bit press the shield button and get advantage of pressing the shield button. I have to press the shield button too far down for me to get my shield the way that I'm used to. And I have to press it harder than I'm used to. I just freaking tap the button on the other thing, but it's dumb. And the shield button, Z, is a similar situation. It has less travel, but it has more resistance. So you have to press the button harder than you would a regular R button on a Nintendo Switch. Also, it has less buttons, which is stupid and dumb, and I hate it. And the layout is terrible. So yeah, GameCube controller sucks. But luckily, because it was a crew battle and not an open bracket, somebody let me use their controller.
Oh, nice.
I used Min. I cheesed the crap out of the person I was supposed to beat in the crew battle, and it was a good old grand time. So that was a tiny W, because my Min was selling the week before. My Min clutched it out this week, and that's pretty cool. But this week, tomorrow, I'm gonna go PT, because I want to do the Rising Aerial, Fallen Aerial thing, and I'll probably not do as good as I should, but I'll probably do better than I did last time, and that's pretty neat. So
it does suck that like with those kinds of things, you get such a small window of, I don't know, opportunity to practice and learn or whatever at the thing. And then like so long between it, like it's a whole week and then you go, and then especially if it ends up being more of a learning opportunity, then you end up playing, 4 matches, maybe 6 matches or something like that. And then it's like, well, can't like do that week again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Yeah. But it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'll try to come. I mean, that was another thing that was also a bonus. Usually when I end up going, it's like a half an hour before the bracket starts. But last week I went like an hour and change before the bracket started, and I got to play with people for longer.
That's what I was gonna say. Can you like warm up beforehand and stuff and play people? That's nice.
So I'm probably going to do that tomorrow also. So that'd be cool. And I freaking got my other Pro controller. I'm gonna put it in my bag, and it's staying in my bag. I'm never taking it out of my bag.
Nice. Yeah, good stuff. Play anything else?
RP said the GameCube will always be in my heart, and I'll still play its games, but I'd rather stick with my Joy-Cons or the 8-bit Duke controller. And that's the other part of it that sucked. I had my Switch with me, which means I had Joy-Cons. I'd rather use split Joy-Con, but I couldn't because the Switch is like in a kiosk sort of situation. So I couldn't freaking use
like
Joy-Con.
pair it or whatever.
Yeah,
I think you can pair it anyway.
Somebody said that after the fact.
There's buttons on the inside or something like that. I don't know. I've never had to do it. So
same. I've never had to do it, so I never thought to do that. And it didn't matter until because I ended up getting the Pro controller anyway. So, and luckily, now that I got my other controller, I never had to worry about it again.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
This isn't something I've been playing, but I forgot to show these last week. I was in Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago. And in downtown Carlisle, there's a shop that like has artist things that are displayed in various places. And one of those artists, like the stuff on the front end, I was like, I don't care about any of these things particularly. Like it's nice, but it's not like for me in any way. And then one of the guys, it was very much it's the kind of stuff that oh no, I'm blanking. Oh no.
The artist kind of stuff.
Our friend that makes the things. Why am I suddenly Thrill House? Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Sorry, Thrill House. Trev kept popping up in my head. Get out of there,
Trev. Can you vamp for a little bit?
Sure. I will vamp by showing. So it's the kind of stuff that like Thrill House makes, sort of, but like not as good as Thrill House and stuff. But still,
do I have that set up? No, I don't have it. Oh wait, I actually do have it set up. I'm going to switch it to just you on the camera. BRB.
Oakley dokley. Hey everybody. There was an artist that had like various, nerdy things on it and stuff. And they had some buckets that were full of Pokemon card coasters. So it's like a Pokemon card. And then I'm going to show the fronts of them in a second. But right now you're only seeing the back. And sorry, everybody just listening to it, you can't see them. But there was like just a bucket of Pokemon cards with some cork in the middle. And then, Pokemon card on the front and stuff. And it's all sealed and whatever. But it was fun because they're all just $2, but some of them are like, Pidgeys and whatever, kind of not as fun cards. But then there's also some like pretty rare cards that you get for just $2 that maybe are actually worth more than that, but maybe not. I don't know. So here's the 6 that I bought. We got, this is just a little haul. A Zacian. That's not focusing at all. But we got a Zacian. I don't know what thing this is from. I got a Dialga. There it is. Yeah, that's the one. A Zamazenta V Max or V or whatever. Cool. Gudra, looking all nice and shiny likes. And 2 more. An Orbeetle V and Galarian Darmanitan V Max.
Nice.
So there you go. My sister helped me find them. We were just like rifling through all the different cards and stuff and found Good ones. So that was fun.
The funny part about this is like you can't see it, and the people that are listening can't see it. But here, I got this. I got Shadow Lugia. Thrill House made it. It's great. It's cool. And then I also got a shiny Charizard. It's great. It's cool. It's nice. It's like Pokemon Red, but it's a shiny Pokemon Red. That's pretty sick.
That's super cool.
Watch the video version of the podcast to see it. I'm gonna eventually tweet it out, but I want to like actually set this room up and do stuff and hang it up, and then I'm gonna do it in the context of that. So you'll see it in a tweet in the future when it's in my setup the way that I want it to look.
Thrill House asked me if I still wanted the Blastoise one, and I was like, I do, but we're like, still a couple months out from moving and all that stuff, and so we are being very, very careful with budget as of late. I was like, closer to Christmas? Nah, man, you're good. It's going to be a Christmas thing. Don't worry about it.
I wish you told me.
So, but nevertheless, yeah, around Christmas time or something. Also, I'm going to see if maybe I'm going to commission something else for Ashley.
Yeah, I want to get something
because he just does some
cool and sick.
And he does a great job. If you don't know what we're talking about because you're not on Twitter very much or whatever, but the kind of stuff that AJ just showed looks cool, like go find Thrill. What's his actual handle? It's at Thrillhouse 198X. And he does some great work. What's the other? He has a website specifically too. needlessThingsDMV.com.
Yep.
Go to it. Buy things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun when people do stuff. So there you go. There's that. All right, Q&A, I guess.
True. Oh wait, no. I'm still playing one more thing.
Else?
I'm playing. I'm doing a new Nuzlocke and Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. And I was just gonna do a new Nuzlocke.
How do you feel about it?
I want to do a new Nuzlocke, and it's the easiest game to do. But this also evolved into being the youth experience of Pokemon. So I started it, and I was like, okay, what character am I going to pick? And I was like, I'm gonna pick the female character because I already did that. And then youth came in the chat, and she was like, can it be me? And I was like, yes. So then I had to go back and I renamed it, and now it's her. And it's still like a regular Nuzlocke of like the first Pokemon that we run into has to be a Pokemon that we catch, and it's still the chat names or picks names, but youth has like final say so on like which name, and that's like what this basically is.
That's fun.
It's funny. It's a good time. I beat the first gym. 2 Pokemon died so far, neither of which youth cared about, so we're in the clear.
Nice, good stuff.
Oh, Alec doesn't know about this. 2 Pokemon died. Bidoof died, and that was unfortunate. And who else died? Kricketot died. Neither one of them I care about, and neither one of them youth cares about, so it's a W.
And you're gonna run into so many for the rest of your life.
I know, and that is something that I do want to say. Nuzlocke in this game sucks. This game, period, just playing it normal sucks, but Nuzlocke in it even worse. Is terrible. It has a terrible selection of Pokemon, like literally, because there's like that rule that it's like you can't have like 2, or you can, but like you can opt to have the rule that you can't have more than one of the same Pokemon. I literally multiple times so far, and I just got the first gym. I mean, the first badge, mind you. There's been multiple times where towards the end of the stream, I straight up skipped encounters because I'm like, I'm not running into anything new. So I'm just going to leave this area because like, I don't need this Pokemon that bad. It's so bad.
It's crazy how even though the same is technically true in Legends Arceus, as far as like it's a lot of the same Pokemon or whatever, it doesn't feel like it.
It's not
really.
Though.
It feels good,
It's not the same. There's more like the only area that's even close to that is the first opening area, but every other area in the game has way more biodiversity than Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Yeah,
there's less Pokemon in the game overall. Yeah. But that really doesn't matter because the game isn't that like it's not as big of an area, There's 5 major areas. So
major area
doesn't matter as much.
What a time. So nice, yeah. Good old Pokemon. All right, Q&A time, and then we're going to record the Patreon podcast after this, for technically for last month, and then we'll have another one for this month that we'll record in the next couple weeks. So many things to come, and maybe next week would be good for the game night. We'll see.
Next week works for me.
Cool. Nice. Here we go. So Q&A from Twitter. Mitchell Monroe asks, enjoyed the answer last week about turn-based RPGs. As a follow-up, what would you envision as an alternative if Pokemon weren't turn-based? I know you've alluded to a series on Pokemon Revision, so if this steps too much into that, feel free to ignore.
The general gist of it is like, I think that it should still be like heavily stat-based, but it should play more like a Kingdom Hearts sort of situation. But even less than that, it should be like a fusion of Kingdom Hearts and like a fighting game, where in Kingdom Hearts you're still like going through menus to pick like your spells. I don't think that menu should be how you attack. It should be like, oh, press this button to do this attack, press this button to do that attack, press this button to do that attack. But like it still have like the stats matter. There's still like specific spreads to like how attacks, like Earthquake is still like a technical like spread move in quotes, you know, like that sort of stuff. Like all the like on paper attributes of what Pokemon is should still apply. It's just the means at which you input those attributes of the game become a button rather than an item on a list.
Yeah.
And there's more to that I could explain in more detail. But I need a scripted format for that. So you'll see it if we ever get to the thing. I mean, if we ever get close to the thing, I'm going to make the first episode for free, and it'll be up on YouTube. But we got to get closer.
I wonder. So here's a thought. In the same way, I saw a tweet recently talking about The Last Guardian, right? Is that the one with the kid and the really big like bird griffin
thing? Yeah.
Whatever that is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That game, you are telling that thing what to do, and it listens to you better and better throughout the game. But at the beginning, it doesn't. I mean, it's kind of like the horses in Breath of the Wild, where like as they like you more and as they're better horses, they'll follow the path specifically and do what you tell them to do. But otherwise, they'll like kind of stray from the path a little bit and like be a little harder to control towards the beginning. It's an annoying mechanic in some ways, but I also really like it for the like immersion factor or whatever. And so I wonder if to some degree this could be one of the first Pokemon could be one of the first series to do a good job of like making it feel like you're both the trainer who's telling the Pokemon what to do and being the Pokemon who's doing the thing at the same time. Because I think what I wouldn't
There's
want
ideas
is,
on that too in this, but again,
exactly.
This is a like when I say a video series, I could literally make hundreds of these. Literally.
Yeah.
Easily. Like not even in a like, man, we're running out of ideas. Like, no, I have too many ideas for this video series. So yeah, there's like, if there's something that you're thinking like, oh yeah, but then this changes this relationship. Trust me, I thought about that, and I have a rebuttal, but this is not the arena for that. Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll wait and see for that. But next question. So Let asks, with all the updates and additions revealed in the Splatoon 3 Direct, what do you think will have the biggest impact on your experience with the game? And do you expect to engage with Splatoon 3 for more or less time than you did with Splatoon 2?
The quality of life stuff. Like all that stuff, I think will like make it easier to convince people that are already in on the conceit of the game to play it. And I think that will lead me to play it more than I did the last game. I played the last game a little bit less than I did the first game because I had less people that ironically, I had less people to like actively play it with in the way that I wanted to when I wanted to. And then by the time that like they got into, like, those same people got Switches and stuff like that, got into the game. They were too into the game, and I was into other stuff. So it was like, I don't really care about Splatoon that much to, like, deal with the team aspect, and I'm playing with randoms and they suck and that blah blah blah, like that whole thing. Like, I'll have a great time if I'm able to play with a team that I feel like if we lost, it was our fault. You know, it wasn't like a thing that's like, freaking so and so doesn't know how to play the game, they're, you know, and I'm mad about that. Kind of like Unite. I dropped off Unite because, like, everybody that I played Unite with, like, played it more than I did, so they ranked up faster than me, and then we got leveled out of being able to play together. It's a similar situation to that, but hopefully that won't be the case with Splatoon 3, and I'll play it a lot.
I think if I play it at all, I'll play it for more time than I did Splatoon 2, so look at that.
That's a fact.
Honestly, you know, I probably could go ahead and just at some points when you're not playing, just download Splatoon 2 and just start the story mode on your profile, just to, like, get sort of familiar with how it works and all that, so that when I play Splatoon 3 it's a little bit smoother. So maybe I'll do that at some point.
That said, it will be significantly easier to play Splatoon 3 when you play Splatoon 3, because I'm getting Splatoon 3 on the Australian account. So
that's true.
You'll just be able to straight up play it on that account.
That's a good point.
Because I don't play on that account, so there won't be no online conflicts.
Nice. Good question. So yeah, last one from Twitter. Poofy Rain asks, do you believe that there's going to be a surprise Nintendo Direct in the coming weeks with the Splatoon 3 and Pokemon updates out of the way that could give room to new upcoming titles, and which one would it be? Main, indie, or partner showcase?
I mean, like, in the immediate future, as in, like, in August? No. I don't think we'll get an August Nintendo Direct unless it's like an indie Direct, but even that I'd be kind of surprised by. I feel like the Splatoon Direct happening and, like, Xenoblade just coming out and that sort of thing, it tells me that they don't really need or want to have that sort of blowout thing to distract from those games. But I think that we'll definitely get another one by November.
Yeah. So. I mean, playing it close, or playing it safe or whatever, I think first 2 weeks of September is a reasonable prediction, just because that's when it's been a lot of other times. And, like, all of this information that we're getting is stuff that they wouldn't have been able to, wouldn't have been able to wait until then. And because theoretically that would be, like, you know, the week after Splatoon 3 comes out or something, or the week that it does come out, and they would want this information out now. But regardless, even if there was a Direct next week or last week, they would still want to do this Splatoon 3 Direct in exactly the way that they did it, completely aside from anything else, because, like, it's a lot of information. So, like, they want to put that in its own.
And they always do a Splatoon. They did a Splatoon 1 Direct.
Yep. As far as an indie world, actually, that's, like, not
I could see it, like, an indie world, but I don't see that happening this month.
Yeah. The last one we got, I was just looking, the last one we got was in May, and that's the only one we've gotten this year. So, like, I could see one happening in the next couple weeks, but also that just depends on, I think indie worlds are a lot more dependent on just, like, what do we have available to show, and then they'll go from there, because, like, there's not a specific cadence that they seem to really do. Then again, I mean, I'm just looking at the list of when they've happened. One at some point in August seems like so far every year there's one August 20th, August 19th the next year.
Has any happened August when there was another Direct in that month?
I don't know. Maybe not. I think, again, just going by precedent, one happening that's the thing, next week is, you know, reasonable enough for sure, but also they could just change that. So
right. But, like, even going off of precedent, that's the thing that I'm not so sure about, is the fact that we just had a Direct, and even before that, like, last month we had.
Well, it has been in the same as like a specific So there was an Indie Worlds last year, August 11th, and then the next week there was the Pokemon Presents.
Oh, okay. What?
So yeah.
I feel like Pokemon Presents is different from a direct though.
But yeah, there might be other examples of same kind of thing. I would just need to look a little more closely. Oh yeah, this one. There was a Nintendo Direct in only China. That's weird. But there was an Indie World and then a partner showcase the week after. I don't know. So.
Well, that makes
anything's possible.
That makes more sense. But yeah, like it could happen. It could not happen. Equally possible.
I'm just gonna, I, at this point, am expecting the rest of the year based off what's already there. And then we're going to find out about more stuff.
Yeah, I think whatever the next thing will be mostly next year. Like mostly stuff that we're getting next year. And then the little odds and ends for this year.
Yep. Agreed. So there you go. Discord questions. All right. Merc asked, which food would you eat to gain its powers?
What does this mean? Is it food that...
Maybe like a pineapple, so you'd be all like spiky and stuff? Or a lemon, so that you could teleport? Because
what?
I'd probably choose that. Yeah, lemons teleport. That's like part of their lore. I don't know. You didn't know that.
What the heck? No. Where did you even get that from?
I mean, yeah, all I can think of is like food that's like, like, again, pineapple being okay. Chronically Cal said pretend you're Kirby.
Right.
That's it. That's a good way to think about it.
Okay, so that means that like it's stuff that is feasible for like real world. Like it's not like Breath of the Wild where I eat a spicy pepper and I like, or freaking Smash Brothers would be a better example, I guess, where it's like you eat the spicy curry and flames come out of your mouth. Like It's not that. It's like you eat a fish and you can breathe underwater, right? Is that the situation?
Yeah, we'll say that.
Do people eat any
or
bird,
like a bird
that
so you
knows
can
how?
fly?
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. I don't know if we eat any birds that can fly though.
Duck.
True.
Ducks can fly.
Duck.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good answer. Oh man. I mean, maybe like just beef, and then just have like big old horns for some reason.
What if the beef?
And I don't know what you do with them.
What if the beef that you ate really lost its horns or something?
Oof. Yeah,
or what if it has
just have some udders,
baby horns?
I mean, also that one I could just put on some fake horns.
True,
You'd be flying around, and I'd be like, have you seen these? So yeah, I'm going with lemons teleportation. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god.
I don't know. For what it's worth, I was on Mark's podcast that's coming out on this coming Wednesday, the 17th. So
nice.
You should check that out if you want to. We talked about music and games.
Nice.
And it's a fun little time. It's the podcast is 11 and a half minutes to talk about video games. So it was funny though, because like I told him afterwards, I was like, it was really interesting trying to give really succinct answers to things, because the goal is to keep it really, breezy and short. And this, we give just the longest answers you could ever hope for.
It's true.
So it was just a funny little brain switch. But yeah, it was a good time. We had fun.
Check it out.
Continuing, Mark also asked, in lieu of the big June Direct, we've gotten one or two singular significant Nintendo announcements a week this summer. Which marketing approach do you prefer as fans, as hosts of a Nintendo focused podcast?
I like just announce stuff when it's ready. I prefer that approach more so because of the implications of it, more than like I prefer one thing or the other as a viewer or like a gamer or whatever, right? Like it doesn't matter to me when I get the information, because I can't play information. So if like announcing them all at once gets the games to me sooner, cool. If announcing them one at a time gets the game to me sooner, even better. Like that's how I look at it. Like I don't really care about like, and I don't necessarily get more or less excited about one or the other, unless the specific game that they're talking about is something that I don't care about. Like I wasn't like hyped to watch the Xenoblade Direct because I knew I wasn't going to buy that game. But I mean, even like with that said, I was still like interested to check it out.
Yeah.
At my own pace. I didn't watch it live, but I watched it eventually. So I think that like all things considered, not just like thinking about it as a viewer and like what I'm into and like what will get me the most invested in like hype and like the longest direct possible or whatever, that removed from it, I'd prefer one announcement at a time because I could.
Yeah. I think I'm probably leaning that way too, in that getting the announcement, like the first announcement for Kirby's Dream Buffet, that felt like just like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's so neat that randomly this thing's coming out. And I feel like even now, more often than not, while we are getting these kind of week by week things, for the most part, they still are saving things for probably the next direct. And so, we're not having as big week by week, kinds of things. But even the stuff we are having is like fun to have stuff to talk about on the podcast and all that. And like, it's fun to have just these little surprises throughout. However, I will say, I think it's nice to have that on top of kind of a framework of like, here's a bed of like, here's the things that do exist that like kind of placate the toxic fan base or whatever, where of like, we know that games are coming out throughout the rest of the year. So everything else is like fun to find out about. So if we were only finding out about things and had these like really big gaps of like, I don't know what's coming out in the next month, and then they tell us like, this is what's coming out in the next month, then like, I think what that would mean for discourse would be just annoying. So it is nice to like, again,
going to be annoying either way.
That's true. But this way, I think it's a nice mixture where there's less of it continuously, which is good. So yeah, I've been pretty happy with the way things have been going as of late, personally.
Max.
Yeah. So there it is. Rise Gang. Hey, Rise Gang. You're right there. You're right
he's there. He's
asked, will Parker be potentially playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the bestest game of all time, at some point? Perhaps. Yes, I will. I think probably post like birthday-ish times or something like that is when I'll have a time and be other things to do it. So it'll probably be a minute, but I do expect to play it. So yeah,
nice.
In just a little bit. Seems fun. Also, yeah, Live Alive, similarly, same kind of thing where I still would like to play that game, but it'll probably be a bit before I actually can get around to it. Yeah. And then the last one, Mega Man. Also, hi, Mega Man. If you're still here. I don't know if you're still here, maybe. You got stuff to do.
True.
Now that AJ has gone back to Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, does he feel any different to when it was released? Probably not, but hey, who knows?
No, game sucks. Terrible game. And I don't like that. I don't like it, but I don't like it. And that's how you know that I'm always real and upfront about my feelings on things, regardless of whether I like the franchise or not, because I love Pokemon. But I hate that game. That game sucks. It's a bad game. Gen 4 is terrible. And I also, like, even more than that, I don't like that game because the discourse. Like that's the like vocal minority. That's what they want. It's for me to not like that game. But I don't like that game because Gen 4 is bad, not because Brilliant Diamond specifically is bad. Gen 4 is terrible. Game sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Just not a fun time.
I'm pretty sure that was like the title. I was like, game sucks, but I want to do a Nuzlocke or something like that. That was like the Twitch title.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that game to some degree too, just because like,
Same.
I don't know, felt like going back to, some classic Pokemon stuff, and that would be nice.
That's
but
not
it just
why I was looking forward to it personally.
Yeah, I don't know, didn't quite scratch that itch.
Yeah. I think
I feel like, yeah. I don't know.
I think that in that regard, it's similar to Skyward Sword for me. Where like I played Skyward Sword again and I was like, yeah, this confirms that I don't like that. Like, granted, I mean, I didn't have any specific like animosity towards Skyward Sword because again, just like Brilliant Diamond, the reason why I don't like it isn't the same reason why the vocal minority doesn't like it. I don't like Skyward Sword not because of the motion controls or anything like or the amount of times that Fee or Fi or whatever her name is, Fee, Fi or Fo or Fum, it talks to you or whatever that like it's the Zelda formula that I don't like, or the old Zelda formula that I don't like. And yeah, so that's a similar situation here where it's like I don't like Gen 4 because Gen 4 is bad for various reasons that are unrelated to the art style of the video game or whether or not they made it in the Sword and Shield engine or whatever, you know.
People didn't really like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire that much either, right?
Huh?
Did people like Omega Ruby
when it
Alpha
first came
Sapphire?
out? Absolutely not. But that's the way Pokemon fans work. Everything when it first comes out sucks. Post social media, I should say. Everything when it first comes out is terrible, and then like the next generation, man, I really wish back in the day when Pokemon games were good. You know, like, people were pining for Gen 7, and people hated Gen 7. And then Arceus came out, and they loved Arceus because and it's crazy because Arceus is Gen 7. But yeah, Pokemon fans are dumb,
man. And there it is. That's the podcast. That's what we're gonna end on. Pokemon fans are dumb.
That's what I like here, man.
Yeah.
Just freaking like, comment, subscribe. Do podcast things. Rate the podcast. Tell your friends to tell a friend and tell your friends to tell their grandma. Follow us on social media at YTreeDirect on all the things, and also at our individual social medias, which is in the description. And it was on the screen if you were watching the YouTube version. If you were watching the YouTube version, freaking download the podcast, please, and rate it. If you're listening to it on audio, watch it on YouTube at youtube.com/directly to you. Okay, goodbye.
Nice.